Alright guys, got a 30-minute game up on the board, an opponent rated 773. Okay, well that's 773 in Rapid, yeah, okay. And we have the Englund Gambit, I do believe. So, do we take the pawn? No real need to take the pawn. Just going to go ahead and play e4. So let's think this through. So really one thing that I want you guys to get is, when you're improving at chess, really base your opening moves on your understanding of principles and some calculation, rather than just trying to memorize. Okay. So here, for example, I mean c3 looks like a perfectly good move here. c3 blocks off the king, releases the queen, and if black wants to take with his central pawn, I'll recapture with a wing pawn, and I'll maintain a central pawn majority. Okay, it's very tempting to take that, but I know the normal trap in the Englund Gambit, and I'm not going to go down that route. I want to play principled chess. All right, so this is kind of inviting d5 with a kick on the knight. Knight can't go there, because they get captured. So the knight's going to have to go either here, which is bad, or there, which is bad, or there, which is bad. Okay, it also allows me to grab the center with e4 on my next turn. Which I think is a good start for white. I haven't developed any pieces yet, but I'll have some good central control over the light squares in particular, as well as these squares. Okay, so he's come back, and now I'm going to play e4, defend this pawn a second time. So it's defended by pawn now and queen, and now black has found itself in a cramped position. Particularly this dark squared bishop is going to have a hard time. Okay, so I think knight to f3 looks very natural now. I do have a potential check there or there. However, it might prompt this c6. I'm not sure I really want that. I mean, like, I could, for example, put bishop out. If he blocked to the bishop, then I put queen, but then this, and he's also got the knight there defending that, so I don't think there's any scope there. I could bring out this bishop. My light square bishop has less options, so I think knight f3 looks solid. We could find that with a pin on the knight, but then I can just block with my own bishop and get ready to castle. Okay, he's brought out his knight. He's now looking at this pawn, which is currently undefended, so we should defend that. Bishop there does look a bit clunky, but likewise knight to here also looks clunky. Let's use the bishop. At least it prepares to castle. Pawn's defended now. Okay, so he's pinning the knight, but now the queen's defending that, so I can go ahead and castle kingside if I wish, but the knight is actually pinned now on the queen. Fortunately, there's no pawn that can come and bother the knight, because the bishop's in the way of the only pawn, and this guy's blocked off, so that's okay. Actually, capturing this knight with a bishop would be great right now, because of this awkward knight here. The only piece that can recapture is the g7 pawn. And that would mess things up for black. However, with that pawn off the board, I've got a semi-open file pointing towards my king, so that's an interesting use of a move. Okay, so now I think I want to bring my bishop out, but do I want to look? Yeah, let's look at this side of the board for now. He can't block with a bishop. He could move his knight out to here. That would actually be a decent square for the knight, but then he'd leave this knight pinned. Lots of considerations in the opening moves. And it really is worth taking the time to figure this stuff out. Okay, I always like to see these little kick moves at the side. think I'm just going to drop my bishop back down to here. I'm kind of eyeing up this guy now, but also keeping an eye on here. So there may be the opportunity to capture that bishop with a sacrifice. Okay, interesting. Interesting. How good is this bishop? Because I'm inclined to let him capture and capture with my pawn, thereby opening up my f-file with my rook on it. So I'm thinking right now something like knight to b2, d2, and let him go ahead and do that. The one downside of this is, if I have a pawn on there, this pawn doesn't really have, it can't really support any pawn breaks because we have deadlock here. That's the only issue. I could drop my bishop back. If I develop my knight to there, it doesn't really have prospects on that side of the board. Could have knight and then look, rook e1, then knight to there, knight to there. I think that looks better. I'm going to go ahead with that. In fact, not rook e1, because if he's going to take this, I want to keep my rook on the f-file, but then I do have scope on the f-file. Okay. So this pawn's now a bit dodgy. I'm not entirely happy with that pawn. But my queen has more scope now. Queen could come out here, harass this guy. Another pawn move, look. So he's putting all his pawns on dark squares here. And he's done nothing to release this bishop yet. So how's he going to do that? I think queen e1 now, queen to here, or to here. One of these squares looks good. Okay, is he preparing this? Knight can't come to there, can't actually come to there either. This is interesting now. Okay, I think I feel like dropping my bishop back down to here. Or I've got this actually. Because the only way he can block now is pawn. Takes, 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 and we've got a fork on the king and the rook, right? You look at this. Bishop there. He can only block with a queen or the pawn. He's not going to block with a queen. So if he blocks with the pawn, free pawn. Because if he recaptures, I recapture. Okay. Not even thinking about that. If he doesn't capture, I've got that pawn with check, discovered check, and then I win the rook anyway. If he plays that, I've got push and attack the queen with check. So it'd be interesting to analyze this. How did he get into this situation? Okay, but now I'm attacking the queen and the king at once. Okay, he can play queen there and lose his queen. If he moves his king, there's only three possible moves here, right? It's either queen there or he moves his king. Either way, the queen's gone. Best move would be that. Bishop takes queen, king takes. But he's in some trouble now. And I just spotted this tactic out of nowhere, really. And it's because of this advanced pawn and the fact that this bishop is tied up, right? This bishop has maneuvered itself here, so it's come off this diagonal, this key diagonal. So it can't block on d7. That's the issue. And that's what enabled this as a tactic. Almost a resignable position now, I think, for black. But I suspect it is not worth a rating point. interesting one to analyse there. So what would you play? I think queen blocks and then make sure you at least recapture the bishop is the only viable option. He's having a good think about it there. Also notice that black hasn't castled yet. And one of the reasons black hasn't castled is because his bishop's in the way. And one of the reasons the bishop is in the way... Whew, okay. Well, you've just got to capture the queen, right? I'll under-promote to a knight with check, just for laughs, because he's going to capture it anyway, so... There we go. Alright. So now we're a full queen up. I have a check here with the bishop, I like that. It means the king can't retreat to there. So he can block with the pawn, but I just take the pawn, so I'm going to do that move. I don't want the king running away into that corner. I'll keep that rook trapped, but keep the king in the middle of the board if I can, okay. Simply another check now. He's not going to capture with a rook. Also notice that this pawn is defended by, okay, it's defended by rook and knight. I was going to say it's potential for a discovery by moving this knight, but now that's not on the cards. All right. Okay, I think rook d1, rook a to d1, because this is actually an open file, although there is some traffic on it. That's just blundered a piece. Okay, pawn recaptures. I don't want to push that yet because my bishop's undefended. Alright, let's... I feel like I want to get my queen onto the light square, so like queen to here looks pretty devastating. Maybe line up a rook there first. Okay, I'll just move the king out of the way. That came with check. So I have this check, but what I want to think about is the timing of that check. So if I play that, king can't go there or there, or there. So he's going to have to go onto a dark square. But then what do I have? If my queen is here, no real continuation. So sometimes it's worth just keeping the idea of something in your pocket until later. If it's not going to be decisive right away, must remember not to move this knight because that's a discovered queen capture. This knight might be useful though. But it really is a one position now for white already. It's just a case of finishing it off in the best way. Okay, interesting. Surely he's not looking at capturing my knight. It makes no sense. Now I'm inclined to move my bishop with check and then think about moving my knight to win the bishop possibly. Because if I move the knight, we've then got a face-off between the rooks, right? So we're either going to get a trade of rooks, which is good for me, or I'll trade my knight for this bishop, which is also good for me. Because I'm so far ahead in material, all I need to do is swap off his remaining pieces and cruise to a win without getting cocky. We've learnt this lesson, haven't we, everyone? Okay. So now knight to here, I'm attacking two pieces. Knight stacking the bishop, rook's attacking the rook. Whichever way it goes, I'm happy. Might even recapture with the queen there. Ready to get my queen in. Okay. Yeah, queen in. I'd like to get my queen out of line of this bishop's attack, so queen into here is looking strong. If he goes there, queen check, he has to go back. Bishop check. yeah, I've got knights and rooks and all kinds of good things that can come in and cause mayhem. If I check there now, I can block with the bishop. So I'm going to push e5. If takes, I've got centralised my knight. Ooh, yeah, with check. So I'd actually win the bishop in that instance if he takes, because that comes with check. Discovered attack on the bishop. Assuming he doesn't go there, which I can always counter with bishop to there anyway. Then he might go here. Interesting times. And cross that bridge if we come to it. Okay, so it's attacking my undefended bishop. I think I've got queen here actually. That's not a bad move. Gets out of that pin anyway. Got potential of pawn forwards. If he comes here, I've got queen back with check. And he can't go to any of those squares, so he has to go back to where he came from. And then bishop check. And he's going to have to go to here. Okay, so queen check there. You can block with the pawn. I can capture this pawn, I guess. Can also check with the knight. Okay, and now bishop here. The king hasn't got any of these squares. He's going to have to go to one of these. And then I'd like to send in the knight, actually. In fact, that might even have been a better move. Force the bishop to capture. That would have probably been a better move, but I rushed. Okay, let's take the pawn, I think. Everything's pretty safe. We're just stripping away his remaining dignity. I've got a potential check there, but he does have an escape. I've got rook e1 check, that might work as well. It's not looking good now. This pawn's now en prise. He does have the bishop pair, but my king's nicely tucked away. He just hasn't got enough material left to launch an effective strike. Yeah. And he doesn't want to exchange anything off at this point. Even recapturing the pawn, I think, would just be deadly, because I'm going to grab that and I'm looking at then two pawns. There's really nothing he can do. Okay, I'll capture this pawn with check now. I think the king must recapture. There's no other legal move. He can't go there or there because of my light square bishop. He can't go there because of my queen. He's got to capture. Okay, now when he captures, I can block the attack with a knight there. Don't have any other good checks, I don't think. Can't check there or there. Might just have to grab the pawn, eh? Looks okay. Yeah, looks okay. That is the really important thing, is that sanity check. You start playing that on every move. That's worth 50, 100 points. straight off. Is there anything stupid about this move before I do it? You know, just look at every next move your opponent has. Could anything just cause you trouble instantly? Like these knights come closing in, would be good. The knights are closing in. Also this one, moving this one, means that my king and my queen and my rook are now in line. I have a check here, which takes away these. The bishop's defending that rook, but nothing's defending that bishop. That's the goldfish. Seeing what's defended, what's undefended, what's defending what. Check here. Oh, you can just actually block that with a rook. So maybe not. Well, let's bring the remaining attackers in close. So now the knight's looking at this bishop. Defended twice, and my queen and my rook are both on the f-file. Having said that, this crisscross of bishops is doing quite a good job there. All right, If I move my queen out the way, he has rook takes f1 checkmate. Unless I move my queen here. Do I have any checks? Neither knight can check. The bishop can't check, it's on the wrong colour square. Okay, I'm going to move my queen back here. And now we've got double issue, see? Now he's got his rook is attacked and his bishop is attacked and he can't save both. If I take his rook, it's going to be almost impossible for him to checkmate me. I also have knight here with a fork on bishop and rook. Spoilt for choice right now, eh? I'm sure we've all had games where we've been this far ahead in material and just got absolutely punked with a surprise back rank mate like that. It's a painful lesson in the world of chess. Question is, how many times do you have to learn that lesson before it sinks in? That's the trick. Well, this guy's clinging on to the bitter end. Not giving up without giving it everything he's got, is he? There is something to be said for that, for sure. I mean, by the same token, we've all had games where we've been significantly behind and our opponent gets sloppy and overconfident and careless, and we end up punking them. Especially when you slow down. So I think it's not a bad thing that he's taking his time now. Because when you've got an opponent who's like higher rated, well in front in material, and they can just start to get frustrated. You're playing a 30-minute game and you're using your 30 minutes. Nothing wrong with using your 30 minutes. You can do that. They're your minutes. They agreed to play a 30-minute game. Be prepared for a 30-minute game. I'm prepared for a 30-minute game. I'm happy. I'm not going to rush. Or am I? He needs to save his rook, basically. If he swaps off rooks, he's done for. So he's got to save his rook. And then I'm almost certainly going to take his bishop, force the king to recapture. So yeah, his rook's got to go somewhere else on the 8th rank there. That's probably a good idea because it attacks this bishop that's currently undefended. If he trades rooks, he's finished. Hurry up, John. No, but I'm not going to get frustrated. Important not to. Having a good old think. But you see how the advantage in this game. Let's go back to the start, right? So Englund Gambit, not recommended. Oh, okay, he's played a move. He's played a move! Right, I'm trading rooks. There's no checkmates. Now that his rook's off the board, back rank mate is not an issue. My king doesn't have any squares, it can't move here because it's guarded by the bishop, but it's no problem. And now queen takes that, check. King's got to go here to defend the bishop, right? No, it can't go there. Can't go there. Can't go there, 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 there. So he's only got 2 moves. I had another check there as well, of course. But we will quickly review where it went wrong for black. He opened himself up to a tactic. And what could he have done? That's what we need to investigate. So that you can avoid making the same mistakes yourselves. Alright, so I have a check. No, 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 no. So if I check there, he's got to go here or here. Yeah, I've got to keep the checks coming. I don't just want to grab the bishop yet. Check there, that bishop's actually protected. So what I want to do is I want to get my queen onto one of these 2 squares soon. So I don't think he's going to go there. I think he's going to go here. We have check. Should be able to checkmate, I think, pretty swiftly. Okay, he did go there. That's interesting. So now queen here with a fork. Can't be blocked. So we can't go there, 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 or there. So he's got to go onto one of these dark squares, really. Can't go onto either of those 2 squares on the back rank because I just moved my queen to here, protected by the knight, and that's going to be a straight mate. So he's actually, I think he's got to go there, hasn't he? Can't go there. Can't go there, there, there. Can't actually go there or there, or there. Okay, so I think that's now just mate. There we go. Okay, cool. Good game. Right, anyway, so, quick review. How did it all go wrong? Well, first of all, he's played a ridiculous gambit on move 1. The Englund Gambit. I mean, maybe he's won a few games that way. I've done 1 or 2 videos on this, but this is not something I'd recommend. I don't even play it myself. But in fact, I'm actually trying to steer away from gambits. I'm trying to grow up a bit with my chess. Okay. I don't know if this is a good response, but it seems very solid to me. Now he brings out his knight, and his knight gets kicked. Okay. And his knight doesn't have that many options. So straight away he ends up going back into a very awkward square, and that now allows e4. So I've already taken good control over the centre, and this knight actually only has 1 square it can go to, because it can't go there, and can't go there, and can't go there. Or there, or there. right? So he's made life more difficult for his knight, he's made life difficult for his bishop, he's made life difficult for his queen already. And we're right at the start of the game. And just to compound things, he makes life even worse for his dark square bishop. And let's look at the future of this dark square bishop. Knights come out, bishop comes out. And now this bishop retreat move. Now I found that odd. I didn't know why he played that. The bishop wasn't under threat. Okay, so when your bishop isn't under threat, what I would have done here is probably think about G6, bishop there, fianchetto the bishop and castle. Just get the king to safety. Right? But this was a bad move. The bishop wasn't even being attacked at that point. So reacting to something before it happens is a common beginner's mistake. You can identify that, hey, white could play h3, attacking my bishop. If white plays h3, I'll just retreat, it's fine. Or retreat to here, or wherever, you know. But this was reacting to something that hadn't happened yet. False expectations appearing real, that's what fear means. Okay, so now I develop my bishop, he kicks, I retreat, you see? But I forced him to kick, or I didn't force him to kick, he chose to kick. And in doing so, slightly weakened his kingside. And again, did nothing to help his bishop's prospects. So, knight comes in looking at the bishop. I'm not bothered, knight takes, pawn takes, okay? Opening up a channel for the rook, and we'll see that that channel comes into play later on, okay? Now he pushes another pawn for no sensible reason. Now I move my queen to the side. Could have come out here, actually. Queen to there with check would have been the same idea, actually, at this point, now that the bishop's out of the way. But he does also have the knight there, looking at that square. So he must move his knight. Okay, so now he moves his knight. So now this square, so the knight was defending that. Now the square c6 is defended only by one pawn. And it's already attacked by a pawn. So now I see the tactic. Check. Always be looking for checks. Even if you don't do anything with it, on every move, is there a check? Right? Checks are the ultimate forcing move. They have to get out of check on the next turn. And here there's only two ways. Move the king, which is a bad idea, or pawn to there, which is also bad. Because takes, and now he can't recapture, but this is almost worse, because he loses his queen. Okay? And it's all downhill from this point in time. Blunders another piece, and you know the rest is history. This guy hasn't moved in the entire game. This guy hasn't moved in the entire game. So the issue was he didn't get castled. And why didn't he get castled? Because he stuck his knight there in the way of this guy, slightly in the way of this guy, definitely in the way of her, you know. And that's the problem. That's the problem with making crazy ass openings like the Englund Gambit. So there you go. Hope that's a lesson to John or Juan CA 27. Hope it's a lesson for all of us. Don't play crazy ass gambits unless you know exactly what you're going to do in every eventuality. And this one just worked out from straight out of the gate. It worked out very badly for black. Okay, so all done. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and I'll see you soon.